Great. We are back. We're starting over once again. The Stanley Parable. We're gonna go full disobedience. I think I'm gonna try.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
That was abbreviated. Holy shit! That's, oh my god. Pretty sure that's new. Pretty sure that wasn't in the demo. Nice fucking job, Davey. Jesus. I mean, you know, he's got more of a team now, but so
this was not the correct way to
the game knows that I'm, you know, that I've played it 3 or 4 times now.
Wow. Yes. This room. What a beautiful room. What a gorgeous, gorgeous room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Do not lie. I like the little, the signs. Penalty for misuse of cargo lift, $1,000. Penalty for jumping off of cargo lift, $5,000.
Look,
So,
Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on
full disobedience. I'm gonna jump off.
Really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you. What? Really? I was in the middle of something.
Danger
to have
everywhere.
Zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why? I don't know how to convince you of this, but I
2B1, really? That's a number?
Beautiful.
This is fantastic.
Let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door. Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door.
So now we're breaking the rules of physics, right?
I don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
Fantastic. So now we're doing all sorts of things. We're in stages, breaking more and more of the implicit rules that we've set up of this narrative. That it's a continuous narrative of a person rather than a game character. We reset like a game character would reset, and so now we've dramatically changed what the space looks like in a way that is, you know, clearly outside the bounds of real life. Look at that only red door. I remember this from the demo.
All right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what, let me take a stab in the dark at a new design and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
Still clearly in the modeling stage. Wonderful. Okay, full disobedience.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
Oh, God. Okay. So now we're into the territory of satirizing the development process itself, right? We've gone from satirizing games and the idea of a game and the whole concept of free will within a game to satirizing games as a product. Now we have within the game built an entire museum to the game that, you know, it just sort of highlights the sort of ridiculously inward focused nature of games. And now we've got to step beyond that. This is about the process of developing a game and soliciting player feedback, which is somewhat controversial. It's something that, in my training and in my opinion, is extremely important. Right? You do an enormous amount of playtesting. The best way to make your game good is to playtest it to see how people react to it. And the more you playtest it, the more refined you are going to be able to make it. There's an alternative sort of perspective, which is more of an auteur perspective, that games are not design objects, they're artwork objects. And artwork objects should reflect the expression of an artist's soul. And so to wash that through a process, a very sort of like industrialized process of feedback is A or B better. That dilutes the artistry, the expressiveness. I haven't had this conversation with Davey. I think Davey is more of an auteur than I am, and I think that he is very much poking fun at the idea that, you know, you can solicit this kind of feedback and have it be meaningful and have it, you know, improve the game rather than just being like a ridiculous waste of time. Did having a third door improve my experience? It did not.
I mean, I can understand if you had reservations, you saw ways the game could be improved to more fully express itself mechanically and artistically, but a 1? That's not even helpful. What am I supposed to do
God,
with
that
that?
accent is fantastic.
But I guess it isn't my place to judge. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
This is, I think the leaderboard is new. Yeah, the leaderboard is new. So this is exactly the same, except it has a leaderboard. Wonderful. This is... so again, this is very reminiscent of Portal, and especially Portal 2. I mean, this like whole graphic, like the way that it does motion graphics in world. Friend list is empty. You know, it's playing with the same sorts of ideas. All right, I'm gonna full disobedience. I'm gonna go through another different door that I wasn't supposed to go through.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please.
Right, because on a purely metric level, the way that you can judge progress through this game is the number of doors that you walk through. That has been consistent. This game is all about doors. I'm having a hard time expressing
of the new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up.
I'm having a hard time expressing how much I enjoy like
towards danger.
The sense of humor.
Click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
So, I mean, this is wonderful. and it's a commentary on all sorts of games, including the Stanley Parable. I think this is a very self-conscious, self-reflective commentary. I mean, the Stanley Parable is absolutely an art game, and it is packaged and presented completely as an art game. There's no question that this is like uh, very aware of how much this game falls into this category. Oh my god, the unbelievable negative feedback of that sound effect. This is designed, oh my god, this is designed to be like the worst experience imaginable.
Heartless bastard.
That's
Did you do
wonderful.
it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out, I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work.
Great.
Let's give it a shot. Well, Stanley, is this any better? At last, the one thing you've always desired. A game I had absolutely nothing to do with. But is it enough? Tell me that, Stanley. Will it ever be enough? Well, I'll say this. I'm done making things for you. From now on, I will only create to fulfill a greater artistic purpose. Watch this, Stanley. I'm going to build a house. This will go here. No, here. And then...
Oh my god. This is wonderful.
Yes, of course. And just to finish it all off, yes, it's complete. I made this, Stanley. Look at it. Gaze upon my work of art and feel ashamed at your own inadequacy. But you've only seen it from the outside. You've only gotten half the experience. Please, step inside and make yourself comfortable.
So, Stanley Parable obviously is very aware of procedurally generated games like Minecraft. I read this honestly as a commentary on how limited the narrative options are in and maybe not even just narrative options, but how limited the sort of possibility space really is in a procedurally generated game. Since that's the obvious argument, counter argument to this, the sort of whole there are only limited pre-authored choices thesis that we got in the other ending. The game wonderfully anticipated that that's exactly what I would be thinking. And now it is showing us, okay, so this is what unauthored content looks like. This is what you get when you try to create art in a procedural world. It's you know, a tiny little dirt house. Obviously, this is an exaggeration, but I think it's trying to make a satirical point that's valid.
Isn't it grand? Isn't it perfect? It could only be better if... Wait, that's it. We must rebuild it out of diamond.
Yep.
Diamond everything. Yes. Come along, Stanley. We have to go mining.
This is exactly what the game is doing. So it like, you know, there's a claim that Minecraft is a procedurally generated narrative.
Right. It looks like it's going to get a bit dark. Have you brought a light?
And it's even got Minecraft-esque music in the background. That's fantastic. You know, the sort of claim of a game like Minecraft is that it's going to have a infinite number of narratives to tell because it's procedurally generated. But really, it only has one narrative to tell, and that's the one where you build a house out of dirt, and then you think, wouldn't this be better if it was made out of diamond? And then you go mining. That's the only story that there is in
More
Minecraft.
open-ended than I had in mind. I'm looking for something more narrow and linear. Something that makes you feel utterly irrelevant. This won't do at all. 1 out of 5. Even the diamonds couldn't save this one. Okay, new game.
That's great. That's great. And of course, this little faux Minecraft that we played was entirely linear. And here's Portal.
Yes, I don't even know what this game is, but I love it. You, trapped in a glass box with no way out. Listening to me talk. Oh, it's inspired. I couldn't have done it any better myself. What is this game even supposed to be? I can't figure it out. Ooh, I'm curious. Let's go find out what the hell this is.
Portal without portals. This is so. I mean, I think it's just like the Stanley Parable knows who its audience is, and its audience is me. Its audience is game designers and people who like game design, who think like game designers. And there are plenty of people who wouldn't consider them game designers who enjoy this game. But it is the game designer part of them that this is speaking to. And so the game knows that that I'm going to play around with the different possibilities, and that then I'm going to think about Minecraft, and I'm going to compare this game to Minecraft. I'm going to compare this game to Portal. It is just showing off at this point how well it knows me.
It's a puzzle. Critical thinking, Stanley. Your forte.
And it's doing it so condescendingly.
Genius.
Oh my god! Oh Jesus! Okay, so we've talked before about how much I appreciate the smooth difficulty curve in Portal and that kind of puzzle design.
That's plenty. I really don't care much to see you stumble through any more of these games, and I highly doubt you're any wiser for the experience. Which is why, rather than continue to waste my time, I'm just going to leave you here. You can pretend you've beaten the game if it makes it any richer for you, but as for me, I've had enough. So, why don't you get cozy in this room, and if you have any grand revolutionary ideas for the perfect video game, you can just sit there and let it ball up inside you for all eternity. I don't need your advice. I don't need your ratings. And I certainly don't need the validation of a man whose job is to push buttons. I think I'll just go...
This is Davey speaking directly to the critics, right?
About my business, making meaningful cultural contributions to the world. And perhaps every now and then, I'll think back to a man named Stanley who was objectively wrong in every decision he ever made. The thought won't last long. Goodbye, Stanley. Good luck with your work. And I sincerely hope that everyone lives happily ever after.
So this is Davey criticizing his critics with tongue firmly in cheek. I mean, you know, it continues to be satire, but wonderfully, this is all about sort of how people are going to react to this game, and he anticipates beautifully how people are going to react to this game. I love this as a you know, designer. I love this. I love the fact that, you know, it would even pretend to give me this kind of a view of the game in progress. Obviously, you know, with a blurring of the lines between game world as real world and game world as game as designed object, there are, you know, parts of this that are nonsensical and references to beta and all of that kind of stuff. And then there's literally like tools. There's a wrench and a screwdriver on the floor as though someone were going to physically construct this level. I don't know if there was a way that I could have gotten out of there. I doubt it. Okay. New corridor. Very clearly new corridor. All of the color is different. I'm not going to get confused and think that I'm back in an earlier part of the game. I don't think this is a real choice. I think this is just an open space now that I'm wandering through. I think it's funneling me. Oh, this looks an awful lot like the two doors. I think this is the way back to Stanley's office. And obviously it's the one light that's on like that, so it's attracting me in that direction. I've interact sounds. So on one level, the game has sort of promised me that this is the end of the game, that this is the end of my meaningful choices. There's not going to be any more interactivity. But so far, the game has actually been very gentle with me. For all of the satire, for all of the ribbing, for all of the poking fun at me as a player, it has always...
What he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it, down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
Interesting. The end is never. So I'm enjoying this very much. I actually am finding it more. It's more sort of consciously organized than I expected it to be, which is silly. I should have expected it to be extremely deliberately organized. But each branch that I have taken so far, I'm going to assume that I've just been on major branches, because I've made sort of obvious choices, and it's possible that major branches are all that exist. That everything sort of feeds back into these sort of major narrative branches where you make key decisions, and those are the only decisions that really matter. Each branch that we've taken has had an extremely different flavor to it. It's been commentary on kind of a completely different kind of thing. There's been sort of commentary on this idea of corporate culture and on storytelling. That I would say that first playthrough where we did everything right was where we were obedient, at least, was kind of all about this. It was about narrative. It was about sort of the effectiveness and ineffectiveness of narrative. And then this most recent playthrough has been very much about the game development process as viewed from a critical standpoint by players and observers of the game. So it's been about holding this game up in comparison to other games, and sort of reacting to the kinds of reactions that players are going to have playing this game. Extremely, like, noodly twisted, right? Very Inception. very recursive thought patterns, but super interesting, and the game does a fantastic job of commenting on all of it. Okay, I'm gonna do a Q&A with chat, and I'm planning to come back tomorrow night and play through a few more versions of the Stanley Parable. So thanks for joining me. If you're watching live, then stick around and we'll do some Q&A, and I will talk to you in just a minute. Thanks.